Up and down?
Yeah, up and down.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Max Hahne. I'm with Engel and Volkers, Collingwood, Muskoka Real Estate, and thank you for coming to our second seminar, all about boomers, zoomers, and seniors. And today we're lucky to have a few guests. So today's speaker will be Brock Godfrey from the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, North Bay. And he's here with Marcy Rivers from the OPP to keep an eye on things, make sure we don't get out of control. A couple of housekeeping items. I'm going to take this out. So cell phones, if anyone has a cell phone, we'd appreciate it if you could turn it off, turn it to buzz. Washroom locations just outside the door, I think to the left or the right. I should have paid more attention to that, but it's just outside that door. Feel free to leave anytime you want to use a washroom or get up and have something to eat at the back or refresh your coffee. We will be giving out some gift bags at the end with all the materials and the handouts that pertain to this seminar. It's just easier to do it that way so that people aren't distracted. We're going to have some informative and valuable information about today's senior living. And of course, our guest speaker is Brock Godfrey. First things first, for those who don't know me, I own, with my wife Tammy at the back, the Collingwood Engel and Volkers franchise. We also own the franchise for Muskoka and all of the Bruce County. The purpose of today's seminar is not about buying or selling your house, so relax. We're not trying to be real estate agents here today and get you to buy or sell anything. The purpose of the seminar is my big why. Why are we doing these seminars? I was asked at the first seminar, and I don't think I properly explained it. So this is courtesy of Dr. David Foote. Dr. David Foote is a professor at the University of Toronto. He's done many talks on demographics over the years. I've attended a few of them. He's now retired, but he's graciously allowed us to use his slides. And this is part of my big why, part of what's happening. Everybody knows that there's more and more seniors and boomers, and the baby boom generation is now getting to an age where they're in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. I think this month I'm 61, if I'm adding up the numbers correctly. Yeah, I'm 61 next week. So leave gifts at the back there with Monica. I was born in 1957, which coincidentally, I mentioned this in the first seminar, was the greatest number of births in North America was in 1957. So I'm part of this huge group. Let me see if this cord stretches enough. So this is me in 1981 at 24 years old. Sorry, that's the female side. I'm over here on the male side. So this graph represents, it's a little bit hard to understand at first. It looks like a tree, but it's a graph that represents the population in female and male going up in age, starting at 0 and going up to 85. And this bulge here in the graph is the baby boom generation. And 10 years later, in 1991, of course, simple math, the bulge starts to move up 10 years. So in 1991, I'm now 30 to 34. And then, keep your eye on the graph, 2001, the bulge moves up a little bit further, and it starts to narrow in a little bit because there's, a certain deaths happen, from various things, and the population in that demographic start to shrink. It might even be people who've left the country and gone to live somewhere else. So 2011, the bulge is now in the 50s, late 40s, early 50s. And 2021, it's moved up even further, as you can see. By 2031, it starts to smooth out a little bit, but you can see this baby boom generation up here is massive compared to, let's go back a little bit, how narrow it is back in 1981. The other thing I would want to bring to your attention is, look at the very top, the number of males and the number of females in 1981 that are 85 years plus. Now let's move up and watch how that grows. 2031, not as many males, but a whole lot of females over the age of 85. So my advice to all you men is learn how to ballroom dance and learn a few card games, because there's going to be a lot of females in this age bracket in another 10 years. More women over 80 than ever before, far outnumbering the men. And they'll probably have to invent, I know they're working on robots to keep these ladies entertained, because there won't be enough men. Robots will be good ballroom dancers, and you'll be able to train them. My wife said she wants to be, she's always joked, she says, I'm going to live to be 103, and I always said, oh, no way, but I'm starting to believe that she stands a good chance of living to be 103. I know she's preparing for it, because she's already down to half a glass of white wine and only one whiskey sour a week. So the other day I caught her looking at dancing shoes online. I said, honey, I don't dance. She said, exactly. I'm going to get one of them there robots. I'm going to teach him to pick up after himself, put things away where they belong. I'm going to call him Lutz. Let's go shopping. Let's go to the beach. Let's go bike riding. I said, Tam, how will you remember me if I'm gone before you? And she said, of course I'll remember you, dear. You'll always be in my heart. In order to help me remember you, I'll simply teach the robot to forget where he left his keys. I said, what if I outlive you? I'll have to have 2 wives. She said, it will take 3 wives to get you to pick up after yourself. So anyway, that's a big eye-opener for me, and it's a game changer in our business, because when I was 24 years old and I started in this business 35 years ago, all of my clients were older than me. I didn't sell to too many clients that were my age or younger than me. I sold to clients that were looking for ski chalets. They were coming to Collingwood for various reasons, and they were all 30, 40, 50 years old. Well, now I'm 60, 61, and all of my clients are 70, 80, and 90 years old. So I looked at my business and I said, where's my future over the next 5 to 10 years? It's certainly not with the millenniums and the first-time buyers. It's with you folks, the folks that I've dealt with over the last 30 years. So we decided to create more services within our brokerage. And that's how the seminar came to be. We started to take courses on seniors and boomers and what their needs were. And what we found was that the American courses just weren't cutting it. It talked about seniors, but it was all Americanized. So I ran into a company called Pivotal ASA that teaches a course for real estate agents in Canada, and ASA stands for Accredited Seniors Agent. So we're encouraging all of our staff, all of our agents in our organization to take their ASA course. We've got John Kirby's in the room. He's taking his ASA. Monica, who you met at the desk, is my personal assistant and business manager, and she's taken her ASA. so that we can understand and talk the language of today's boomer and zoomer and senior and understand what their needs are. And their needs are very different. And I'll give you an example, if I can find it here. So here's Roy. Roy was supposed to be here today, but he's a little bit under the weather. That's not his girlfriend or his wife. Roy is 81 years old, and he actually teaches skiing at Blue Mountain. So while I'm hiding under the covers at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, he's putting the ski boots on in January, December at 30 degrees below zero, and he's going out to help teach people ski. And Roy calls me up one day and says, Max, I want to buy a new car. I want to free up some cash. There's certain things that I have to do with my life. I want to pay off some old debts. Can you sell my house, my condo at Blue Mountain, and find someone who will let me stay there for the next 5 to 7 years? I said, Roy, it's impossible. We can't do that. Someone's going to want to buy your place and use it. And he said, well, will you try? So we tried. We put it on the market, and lo and behold, we had about 100 different people over the course of 3 or 4 months look at the property. And it was a case of massaging how much money he was willing to pay in rent and what they were willing to pay for the property. But we finally found someone who was willing to buy the unit. They gave him a 7-year lease because they're not coming up to retire for 7 more years. And they paid him cash for his property. So now he's flush with cash. He's got a reasonable rent. And he's able to carry on with things that he wants to do in his life. We suggested or tried reverse mortgage, but for one reason or another, it just didn't work. So we're going to be doing more of this. It's called aging in place, where we find investors to purchase your home. You get to stay there, you sign the lease, and we carry on. So that's one instance where I started to find that there was a different need out there. I have another lady in the audience, and dear lady, she calls me Mr. Hahne. I call her Mrs. G. I won't reveal her name, but I'll tell you this: if you want to get some snow plowing done, or your tires changed on your car, or your eaves troughs cleaned out, just call me Mr. Hahne, because I'll come running. Nobody ever calls me Mr. Hahne. And I've got a very soft spot in my heart for her. And she calls me up one day and she says, Max, we know we need to sell the house, and it's going to be a couple of months before it gets ready. Her husband is in a facility right now. He's suffering from some Alzheimer's, and she goes to visit him every day. Well, one day she has a car accident. And so she's calling me, she's very upset, and she says, not only did I have a car accident, I get notice that they've canceled my home insurance. And I had a claim last year, and now they won't renew it, and I don't know what went wrong or how I didn't get notified. But anyway, so we had to pull everyone in our office together, find an insurance broker and a lawyer to call down and straighten this whole mess out. It took a couple days, and they finally sent the paperwork up to our office. I mean, they don't even make personal phone calls anymore. They had to send the paperwork up to our office by fax or email so that we could bring her in, get her to sign the paperwork, get the payment made, and get her house insured. So again, another example of services that we have to offer, other than me just showing up at her house because she wants to sell her house, plunking a sign on and saying, well, I'll call you when we get an offer. There's a lot more involved now in helping seniors with the many, many issues. And so these seminars are meant to talk the issues through, bring in experts who can help resolve some of the problems, and do real estate in a completely different way. So as I say, life comes full circle when you get to work with the same people years down the line. It's about helping old and new customers as if they are part of our own family, especially now that they are facing a whole new set of challenges: health, financial, mobility, legal, family, and location. And so we're the only office in Central Ontario where we're training all of our people to be part of the pivotal ASA accredited senior agent program and the master ASA, which I'm involved in right now. There'll be a brochure in your gift bag to explain all about what pivotal ASA is all about, and a little bit of information about who we are and what we do. I have for my company here Larry and John, who are working on getting their ASA. They're senior agents with us. Not only do they work with a lot of seniors, they're seniors themselves. And of course, I'm working with my on getting my Master ASA so that I can actually teach the course. And CAPS, I just want to mention that. My wife and I were down yesterday in Toronto for a meeting, a network meeting with a group that called themselves the CAPS. It's a North American organization sponsored by the American Home Builders Association, and it stands for Certified Aging in Place Specialist. Put your hands up if you want to move out of your house right now and move into a short-term long care retirement home. Exactly. Nobody wants to leave their home if they can possibly help it. Sometimes we have to go, but you know, if you can stay in your home for a long, long time, that's what everybody prefers to do. So it's not about me going and selling your home right away. And people say, well, why would you want, if you're a real estate agent, why would you take a course that teaches people how to stay in their home longer? Well, part of the assessment is we have to look at the home and see what renovations need to be made. In a lot of cases, we can permit the client to stay in their own home, but we have to change homes. We have to get them from a two-story home into a single-story home, and then we have to make certain renovations to that home. So the CAPS people are designers, builders, people who specialize in special equipment. There was a gentleman there from Dorval, Quebec yesterday who had handrails that were like, they would go anywhere. It's a new product. They're backlit, so when you go near it, the lighting comes on so that if you're in a dark corridor or stairwell, the handrail actually, when you get close to it, throws a light up so that you can see what's going on. So great new products that we're learning about, and I'll be talking more about the whole CAPS program, Certified Aging in Place, in further seminars. The one thing I do want to mention, I don't know where that went. Oh, yes, transition. I want to talk about transition because people think that transition just means, you know, getting up and moving. But the transition is not necessarily a physical move from point A to point B. It doesn't mean you have to sell your house or move to a retirement home. And I asked you how many people want to actually move to a retirement home. Transition means a healthcare transition, a financial transition, passing of a partner is a transition. Anything that transitions your life from where you are now to something else, good or bad. Even though I'm in real estate and I can help you with a physical transition, because I'm connected with Pivotal, I can assist you with all other types of transitions. And so can my partners. We're trying to align ourselves with 100 different experts in various businesses that can help. Today I have Gerrard Buckley, who's a specialist in financial, and I have John Ferris from Ferris Selhofer Law. He has a couple of different offices, Flesherton, Dundalk, Creemore, and John is a specialist in senior aging and the legal issues that they face. So together we formed Great Life Seminars, and we hope to bring you a lot of interesting speakers and a lot of really good information over the coming months. We hope to do the... Yes?
I want to make... Oh, I've just found out how to work your pen.
Ah, okay, it's the clip. You push down on the clip.
Yeah.
That's not a senior-friendly pen. We're going to change all those, by the way. Yeah, so shame on me. See? We learned something today. The pens are no good. They have to come with a set of instructions. So it's become my life purpose to give something back after 35 years of just listing and selling people's properties and homes. So that's my story. I wanted to tell you why I'm doing this. In your gift bags will be information on Pivotal, ASA, and how we will be able to provide you with better services. So future events will be here at the Leisure Time Club. We will go to some facilities like Chartwell, Balmoral, and some of the other facilities in the area that have rooms where we can actually do these sorts of, 50 people seminars, so that we can actually do more of an informal open house. I mean, nobody wants to walk into Chartwell and say, hey, well, give us a tour, but if we have a seminar at one of these facilities, it may open your eyes as to, hey, this is an alternative for me over the next couple of years. We'll do seminars about 6 to 8 weeks apart. Our seminars are being recorded, and they will be on our website. So if you miss a seminar, and we'll be sending out newsletters and contacting you. By the way, you've all registered, but we're not going to abuse your information. We're not going to sell that information or rent it out to anybody. That's between you and I. It's just for us to keep in touch with you, to let you know what speakers are coming, what topics we're going to talk about. If you can't make it because you're in Florida or you're away, you've got an appointment, the information will be on the website. So it's important for us to record everything. So stay tuned. I do want to see, from a show of hands, we're at the end of the year now, and we're almost into November. We're thinking of doing another seminar in December, not too close to Christmas, but maybe the first or second week, which is about 4 weeks from now. Is there anybody who would be apt to come to another seminar at the beginning of December, as opposed to waiting until, okay, most of the room. Okay, so nobody's going to Florida. You going to Florida? Okay, well, we're going to make sure that you get sent the link to the webinar so that you can at least catch up on the information. And we will send out a regular newsletter. We'll try and plan the seminars at least 2 or 3 in advance, so that you know 3, 4, 5 months ahead who's coming. And one of the speakers that I wanted to talk about, I don't have his information here. I just attended it'll be in your packages that you get, a little book called The 4 Stages of Retirement by Dr. Riley Moynes. And it's a fantastic book. You're all going to get one. Compliments of me. My picture's on the back because I endorsed the book and had it printed with our information on it. I saw him speak in Collingwood 2 weeks ago, and it was just absolutely fantastic. He talks about retirement and what makes you happy. Or what makes retired people happy, and what they go through in the 4 phases of retirement. It's a fascinating topic, and he's uncovered the secret to true happiness in your retirement. So we're going to bring him up. He's a client of mine, and we're going to bring him up to speak to us sometime over the next couple of months. I'm not sure exactly when. He spends a lot of time in Florida, but his wife is just having some new heart surgery, and so he may be here for a couple of months longer. Also in the back, I want to just point out Meredith Cuddy from our Engel Volkers Collingwood office is back there. She's representing the Monaco project at the corner of Huron, Ontario and Hume. Give a wave to Meredith. And so this project is a luxury product in the heritage part of downtown Collingwood. I know we've all seen the fences and the sort of the hole in the ground. We're all wondering what's happening, but there are, out of more than 100 units that started out for sale, I think there's only 40 left. So they are selling out. They're committed to start building this fall. Next spring. Okay, but I'm told it is a go. She has some gifts for everybody back there and a brochure. If you haven't been to the presentation center and you're just curious, please, at the end, visit Meredith, ask her any questions you want. She'll give you a brochure on the project with some availability and some prices, just so you know, and she's got a little handbook gift for you. So that is my housekeeping, I think, for and my part of the presentation for today. So, to carry on. We're going to bring Brock Godfrey up, but Gerrard Buckley, who's our finance specialist, he has a case study that he wants to talk about for 5 minutes. If you can be patient and listen to him. And it wraps up sort of this whole, what do we do that's different from everybody else in services. So Gerard's going to come up and speak for probably, it'll take all of 5 minutes to give you a quick case study. And then John Ferris is going to come up for a minute or two and just talk a little bit about some of the services that he offers. And then we'll get right to Brock. And I've heard Brock speak before. It's a fantastic subject. It opened my eyes to frauds and scams that are going on right now, and the wolves are certainly at the gate. you know, looking to take advantage of people. And I have to be careful myself, you know, that I don't click on a link or open something that I shouldn't. And my wife is better at it than I am, because I just like click, 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 and look, look, look. And she says, you touch that, and you know, and we're in trouble because they're asking for your personal information. Don't give it. So I'm always on guard as to what I do and I don't do.